If you're out there shopping for a home right now and you're sitting at your computer and you get bedazzled with one of these flashy, beautiful new websites that are out there that say, hey, apply now, apply now, apply now. Super easy. You're sitting in your jammies at home. Boom, boom, boom. You enter all that information. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what's the difference between simply getting pre-qualified with some major out-of-state, local, non-local mortgage company that is just shouting out kind of what your rate is today. If you close today, we can get you this. We're going to talk about that a little bit today and get a little bit deeper into it, because when rates rise, buyers are always looking at ways to save money. And so some of these flashy, dashy websites that are out there and these sexy, sexy ads that run, they're hard to compete with. So we're going to get to the bottom of that, and we're going to talk about why I always recommend my buyers that have gone through that process and actually tell me they're qualified with some of these big, huge, I don't even know where their offices really are, lenders. Instead, talking with one of my local mortgage lenders who actually offered a wide variety of loan products different than what that, I don't even know where they are, lenders. So today we're talking with Rhonda Johnson from Cornerstone. Hey, Rhonda, how are you?
Hey, Melissa, doing excellent.
Let's use an example. I have a client who came to me through my doing an open house, and she and her husband were out shopping. And so they liked me, they liked my style. They said, hey, can we hire you to be our realtor to go out and show us homes? My first question always is, are you going to be paying cash, or are you going to need to get a home loan? Well, their answer, of course, was, yes, we've already gotten pre-qualified from this big, I'm just going to call them a big box lender. And the look on my face was, oh, so can you tell us why my face wasn't like beaming happy in the fact that they think it's better to use this big box lender versus giving a local lender a jingle and getting to the bottom of it? So why did my face do that?
Well, the things that I know is that because I've actually interviewed with some of those big box lenders that wanted to hire me, but I don't fit into their profile, because their profile is that you can be sitting on your bed in your jammies with your laptop and you can pre-qualify people. You have a big, huge book of scripts. So when they ask a question, you type the question in your computer and pops the script. You don't have to really think, and you don't have to really know. You're just reading what a canned answer would be. And so that doesn't fit my personality, because I like to do deeper planning with my clients, and I like to give them real life experience, not just, I mean, you could be in the business 1 week and pop up the script and give that answer. So you don't know if you're working with somebody who's 1 week as a mortgage lender or 20 years as a mortgage lender. It's just whoever happens to answer the phone when you call in, because it's this big call center, right? And they're all just sitting in this room with headphones in, or at home with headphones on, and just simply going off of scripts. And in my opinion, we're people, right? Every single one of us are different, and we don't all fit into the same box, especially in Alaska. The other thing that's different about that, Melissa, is that, especially in the state of Alaska, and a lot of states have kind of localized state housing type programs. We have probably the most robust one in the state, or in the country, with our Alaska housing program. And those kind of big box lenders don't have access to that. They're not allowed to, because they only allow the local lenders who are familiar with our areas to participate in those programs. So you could be missing out on a really great loan product because you're not working with a local lender.
Well, and that brings me back to this conversation I had with this buyer, is in your best interest, I'd like for you to jump onto Rhonda's website and schedule a time to chat with her. You don't have to go fill out a whole application, anything like that. Just chat with her for about 30 minutes about what you're trying to do to make sure that you're getting the best loan product for you. Because what I did tell them was, we did look at a property. They kind of thought they might want to make an offer on a property. So I said, okay, well then why don't you contact this big box call center lender and get a loan estimate so that we make sure that you understand what your costs are going to be, because in today's real estate market, we are not seeing sellers accept offers paying any of the buyer's closing costs. So buyers are now needing to pay down payment plus their own closing costs. And so my thing is let's just make sure you're comfortable with the numbers. And they could not get a loan estimate out of this big box call center. Instead, they wanted my client to give them some money on their credit card so they could start processing their loan. And I was like, whoa, was that weird for me to tell them you should not be giving a mortgage company money up front?
No, we don't charge our clients anything up front. We are here to provide a service, and that service includes complete information. And part of that complete information is this really the right product for you? Because look, here's what the numbers look like. Here's what your payments are going to be, your down payment, your closing costs. Do you even feel comfortable with these numbers? And before we're going to put you through all those hoops that it takes to get a mortgage loan, then we're going to make sure that you're comfortable with what the end result is. You don't go buy a car and finance it without knowing what your car payments are going to be. You don't go to the grocery store and just buy everything on the shelves because probably your pocketbook doesn't allow for that. So you need to know what those prices are before you decide if I'm going to buy the brand name cereal or the generic cereal, or the brand name peanut butter or the generic peanut butter. I mean, you need to know those numbers. You need to know those prices. You need to know those costs so that you can budget what you can afford. So absolutely not. There's no way I would pay money to anyone before I knew what the end result was going to look like.
Part of this conversation was, well, they're offering me this interest rate. And I said, you can buy your interest rate down. A company can give you a better interest rate if that's something that's really important to you, if that's on that list of super importance. But my understanding too is there's a limit to how much interest, I guess they're called points, right? When you buy an interest rate down, you buy points. But you can't go from 6.5 to 2.5 today.
Correct. So the law says to keep you a qualified mortgage, then the borrower is not allowed to pay more than 3 points total between the closing costs and any discount points to buy down your interest rate. So you can get this big long list of interest rates, and you can say, okay, I like that rate, and I'm okay with that cost to buy that rate. So there is no today's rate, because everybody has a choice and everybody has a different rate, and you choose whether you want to buy down a lower rate or take the higher rate. Our goal is to get you the lowest rate for the lowest cost, and sometimes that cost doesn't give you enough benefit for taking a lower rate, and so we look at that whole big picture. But the other thing that I've noticed is I've looked at several of those websites when people would say, well, today they're advertising this rate. And then I go look, and in really, really small fine print, there's a little link that says, here's the legal piece, the legal stuff. And you click on that, and oh my gosh, Melissa, it's like, okay, you have to put 25.5% down. You have to have a 760 credit score. You have to pay your own closing costs. You have to be owner occupied. It has to be within this price range. It has to, there's like this list of requirements in order to get that rate that's quoted. And they have to put that legal verbiage on there, but they put it to where it's kind of difficult to see it. And so you can quote whatever rate you want to online, but that may not be your reality because there's too many variables for it. And again, they're not taking into some of the localized products that might be available. Unless you're really, really experienced at reviewing all of those different websites and all of those legal notices and understanding what they're really saying, then it's a little bit of a dangerous game to play when you just have somebody reading scripts to you and not actually doing some planning and helping you understand what all of that really means, in my opinion.
Well, if you've ever watched Wolf of Wall Street, the Wolf on Wall Street, I imagine when you were talking about this call center, I can just see them all call, whoa, we got another one. They didn't care about the end result. They just cared about getting the client to the next step. And then somebody else takes it from there to actually get it to closing. And that's been my experience when I've had buyers select those big box call center lenders, it is pulling teeth to get information out of them. And I have never had one at the end say, wow, I'm super glad we did this and it all worked out the way we were told at the beginning. There's always additional fees that are charged and things that we just don't see in our Alaska lenders. What's interesting too is if you were to go online today and see who is pushing out rate advertisements from a local lender standpoint in Alaska, it's rarely done because most of your local Alaska loan originators know that not this box, which is this rate with all of these terms, not everybody fits in that box. Maybe 1% of the people looking at that ad are going to fit in that one little box. So they consider that kind of the bait and switch kind of thing. And in Alaska, we've kind of always strayed from the bait and switch. We've always strayed away from that. And instead, we want to be able to say, what are you trying to do? What do you want to buy? Where's your comfort zone in a payment? And let's work to get you there. And because I know that if I have a buyer that's pre-qualified with you, I can have them as we're driving from the house. I can call you and say, hey, so-and-so's thinking about putting an offer on the house on 1234 ABC Street. Can you pop a loan estimate into their inbox so that I make sure that they're okay when I get home to write the offer, that we're all okay with the numbers? I've never had you not do that. You do that right away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a critical piece of information. I mean, and not only does it have enough bedrooms and bathrooms to meet my family's needs, but what's this going to cost me each and every single month? I have to write that check. And I have this much money in my bank account. How much am I going to have to pull out of it to accomplish this? Critical piece of information. And you're right. Sometimes with some of those other call centers, then you never even talk to the same person twice. It's just whoever picks up the phone next, and you hope somebody put enough notes in the system to get your message across. But it's only as good as whoever put those notes in. And sometimes you have to go over and over and over again what your goals are. And, unfortunately, you're not getting some really good planning because this might not be your first home, right? Or it might not be your forever home. The statistics say you're going to do between 7 and 11 real estate transactions in your life. And this might be number 1, or it might be number 2 or 3, but it probably isn't the last one. And so you really want to get together with your team that's going to be there with you for those different steps and help you plan what the next move is. So this is a starting point, and it may be the last one. We don't know, but we want to make sure if it is, then we get you what you want for your number 11 home, or your number 11 transaction, or whatever number it is. So we want to, we talk about this all the time. You need to have your realtor and your lender and your contractor or handyman, your home inspector, your title company. You need to have that team all there working for you for your end result goal, not theirs. It's never about us. It's always about the client. It's always about you getting what you want.
Well, and that's why, if you guys have been watching us and watching my videos, is that I always encourage you to pick up the phone and give Rhonda a call, because she is the only certified mortgage planning specialist in the state of Alaska. And what's really important about that is this might be your first home, but it's definitely not going to be your last home. And so wouldn't it be nice to know at the very beginning of your real estate purchasing journey the little tips and tricks she's going to teach you? Again, she can compete. Any lender I know can compete with those big box call center loan estimates, because they oftentimes will debunk the whole thing of, well, okay, but you see all these fees, none of those need to be charged. And we used to not have that. We used to not have that opportunity to do a loan estimate. I remember it wasn't that many years ago where TRID came out because of the mortgage meltdown, and lenders started going, whoa, wait a minute, why does the loan estimate have a column where all of our stuff goes in it, but then there's 2 to 3 other columns where we encourage home buyers to shop? Because you should shop to make sure. And so if you are one of those buyers that has kind of gotten pulled into those very sexy ads and filled that all out, you need to get that loan estimate and then talk to a couple of local lenders about what you're trying to accomplish. Definitely pick up the phone and call Rhonda and say, hey, let's schedule a time, and this is what we want to do. Can you tell me what it would look like? She can walk you through the Alaska Housing Finance Corp loan products, which are excellent loan products and designed to help people that live in Alaska purchase properties. So that's why we always encourage you go local. So anything else, Rhonda, that you can think of that we need to share about those big box call center lenders?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to get an estimate from them, but I just strongly encourage that you do get an estimate from a local lender as well. And it's really important to compare apples to apples because, again, you're going to see this quote for 25.5% down and these really high credit scores and a lot of these different terms. And so sometimes then you'll go to your local lender and say, well, I really don't want that. I want this. And so you're going to get a quote for what you want, but it's going to look different than that one that's online because you're not going to meet all of those goals. And you don't know what the real quote would be for you because they're not giving it to you unless you fit into that teeny tiny little box that they have outlined. So just be super careful about that. It really hurts me when after months and months and months, I'll see somebody come back saying, well, it sounded so good. It was almost too good to be true. And we've been at this for 4, 5, 6 months now, and we're still not anywhere near the closing table. So I don't know what to do. And we have to kind of help pick up some of the pieces and help them accomplish that goal. And by now, tensions are high and emotions are high, and it doesn't become a very enjoyable experience. I mean, it's not the funnest thing to do to begin with, right? But when you have to spread it out over that long of a time, then it gets really intense, and it's just really sad. This is a cool thing. This is a good thing. Buying your new home is a really good thing to do, and it is a lot of work, and so it doesn't need to be more than what it already is. So anyway, yeah, no, I think if it doesn't hurt to look at those things, really look at that fine print, but definitely get a quote from your local lender as well, and just make sure you're comparing apples to apples.
Because it does take a team to purchase a house, because I had a couple of agents call me over the last month and they were just horrified that sellers didn't extend. Buyer couldn't perform. Lender couldn't get the loan closed, and it was a big box call center lender, and the seller said, nope, we're not waiting any longer. We're taking that backup offer, and boom, closed it with somebody else. So that's why we always recommend that you do go local. That's why we do these videos, is we want to try to educate and help so that you as a potential home buyer and or home seller know the little tips and tricks of what kind of things to look at. Both Rhonda and I always talk about it takes a whole team to put this together. Again, you need to have a great real estate agent. You need to have a great mortgage lender. You need to have an escrow company we can trust to work on the title. We need a home inspector, a contractor. The appraiser has to come out. There are so many places and pieces and parts to do this, to just get somebody into a home. So you do need boots on the ground, as we call it, and someone who understands the local market and the urgency of the local market. So at the end of this video, you'll have my contact information, Rhonda's contact information. We do live, work, and do business right here in the state of Alaska. So we can do business all over the state of Alaska. Feel free to reach out to us. We do answer our phones. We respond to emails. We are working right here, so we'd love to work with you guys. You can go to Rhonda Johnson's website, rhondajohnson.net, and just up there on the very top, click a button and schedule a Calendly time with her, and talk to her about what you're trying to do, what your goals are in wanting to buy. Maybe you're thinking about selling your bigger house and moving to a different house. Maybe you're thinking about selling your smaller house and moving up. Purchasing a property you should think of it as a strategy, and you need to work with somebody that'll help you strategize.
It's a big asset, so you want to make sure that you do it right.
Well, yeah, because again, you can fall in love with the house. You don't have to necessarily marry the rate, as Rhonda sometimes says, because you can, if rates shift. That's why we have those refi booms. I mean, if you haven't been in the market for a long time, or you're just getting new into the real estate market, you haven't been through one of those refi booms before. Why do you think those people refinance their houses? Because they weren't married to their rate. So Again, you just want to make sure that you're talking with somebody who will ask questions and listen to what you're trying to accomplish and help you accomplish that goal. So we look forward to seeing you guys again next week. Rhonda, I'll see you next week.
All right. Talk to you later.
Comments, anything else, follow us on social media, and we look forward to seeing you guys again next week.